Hey Ed, I'm thinking about trying a direct mail campaign to land clients. Is that a good idea? I get that question all the time. And the short answer is, well, it depends. Because the real question isn't whether you should try direct mail. That's like asking me if you should try to go to Paris for the summer. I don't know. Should you? The real question goes deeper than that. To know for sure, you need to ask yourself the following questions. First, what do you want to get out of this effort? What are you offering in your direct mail piece? What's your call to action? To whom are you sending it? Are you following up with these prospects in any way, or are you just planning multiple touch points for each prospect who doesn't respond? Who's on the mailing list? And what's the source of that list? What else are you doing to prospect for clients? Where does this campaign fit into your overall marketing strategy? You see, when it comes to marketing and prospecting, it's not so much a tactic you're using as much as how you're using it, whom you're approaching, what you're offering, and how that idea, how that effort integrates with all your other marketing tactics and strategies. Now, we'll address some of these issues in future videos and podcast episodes, but for now, I'm going to answer the original question, and I'll rephrase that question as follows. Is direct mail still effective? And if so, what kind of direct mail works best? Well, the answer is yes. Direct mail is still a very effective prospecting method when done right. When promoting your writing or copywriting services, there are three types of effective direct mail prospecting. Number one, the lead magnet approach. Number two, the hire me for your next project approach. And number three, the warm letter approach. Let's look at each one more closely. The lead magnet approach involves offering a free download, which is essentially your lead magnet or your bribe or your bait piece, as your call to action. And this lead magnet can be anything from a checklist to a cheat sheet, process map, tip sheet, template, or other relevant, useful, and easily consumable information that's somehow tied to the services you provide. Interested prospects can then trade their contact information for that lead magnet. And once they do, they've essentially raised their hands and identified themselves as leads. Now, for our purposes, a lead is a prospect who has indicated interest in your services. Now, they could have done that either directly by sending you an inquiry, or they could have simply requested information from you, such as lead magnet, which implies interest in an indirect way. With this particular method, rather than approaching your prospects for work, what you're doing instead is fishing for interest, even if that interest is not immediate. Some of the prospects who request your lead magnet might have an immediate project opportunity, but most of them will not. Your job is to follow up with those who are not yet ready and stay top of mind with them in a professional way until they are ready to hire a writer. The advantage of this approach is that you're able to generate a larger pool of leads. And if you do a good job following up and staying in touch, you can end up converting more leads to clients over the long haul. Now, let's look at the second one, the hire me for your next project approach. Unlike the lead magnet approach, this particular approach is a direct invitation to discuss a project or a need. You're essentially communicating whom you serve, what you do, and what makes you different. And you're just inviting the prospect to contact you if he or she has an immediate need, or next time he or she has a project you can help with. Statistically, there are fewer prospects with an immediate need than there are prospects who are interested in the topic of a relevant lead magnet. And that's a very important point, because what that means is you're not going to generate as many leads with this particular effort as you would with the lead magnet approach. So let me give you a hypothetical but very realistic comparison to give you a very general idea of the potential difference between these methods. So let's just say that you send out 100 letters. With a lead magnet approach, you're sending 100. With a hire me approach, you're sending 100. So let's compare the results of both groups. With a lead magnet approach, let's just say that you get 5 prospects who request your lead magnet. So again, they trade their contact information in exchange for getting a copy of your lead magnet. With the hire me approach, you get none of those because that's not what you're offering. Now, an immediate need. Who's going to have an immediate need? Let's just say that with your lead magnet approach, 0 of those 5 who responded have something right now they want to talk with you about? Well, with the hire me approach, let's just say that you have 1, right? But you're going directly for that. Okay, so that seems to be winning right now, but let's keep moving. All right, what about people who turn into clients within 90 days? With lead magnet approach, you may not get any of these people. Let's just say it's 0 of these prospects of the 5 who downloaded the lead magnet, 0 actually hire you over the next 90 days. With a hire me approach, let's just say that the one who had an immediate need turns into a client. Wow, so far the hire me approach starts looking really, really good. All right, so let's just say, moving along, that you stay in touch with all 5 of those who downloaded your lead magnet over the course of several months until hopefully 1 or 2 are ready to hire you. There's no guarantee, but you're staying in touch. With a hire me approach, you don't know who's interested. You just know that one of them responded and said, I'm interested in potentially hiring you, and they did, but you don't know about the other 99. Now, if you keep following up with a lead magnet approach, let's just say that 2 out of those 5 who downloaded your lead magnet turn into clients, but they don't turn into clients until months later. Let's just say month 10 and month 12. So it's been a while. With a hire me approach, zilch, nada. So when you look at the totals with the lead magnet approach, you could potentially have 2 total clients generated. With a hire me now approach, sure, you had an immediate win of 1 client, but that's it. You've exhausted the possibilities because you don't have a large pool of prospects to stay in touch with until they are ready to hire you. Now, this is obviously just an illustration, but it's a very accurate representation of what happens in each of these 2 scenarios. The hire me approach might turn up a client quickly, relatively quickly, but that approach is very short-term oriented and leaves you with no viable leads to follow up with over the long haul. The lead magnet approach may also turn up a client quickly, but its benefits really go beyond that. It helps you generate a larger pool of interested prospects or leads that you can then nurture long-term until they have a need you can fill, until you can actually help them. Let's talk about the final approach, the warm letter approach. So this approach incorporates elements from the other 2 methods. And quite simply, it's a warm email in the form of a letter, which means that it's a very personalized message to a specific individual, a one-to-one message as opposed to one-to-many, as opposed to a broadcast. So this is a personalized approach rather than an email blast. Here's an example of what that might look like. Dear Tina, I keep seeing your name everywhere. I do a lot of writing work in the waterworks and wastewater treatment industry. I'm very impressed with what I've read about your new line of Extronics wastewater treatment monitors. Definitely a game changer. I was curious, do you ever work with outside writers for any of your marketing materials? And if you do, I'm wondering what it would take to be considered for a future project. I specialize in helping companies in the water treatment industry write marketing content and sales copy. You can learn more about my experience here. And there's the link to your website. Would it make sense to connect? Regards, Ed Gandia. I like using this approach as a follow-up to a warm email, and here's how. First, what I'll do is I'll send the prospect just a basic warm email. Again, it's got to be short, personalized, and relevant if you know about warm email prospecting. Second of all, if I don't get a response within 2 weeks, I will resend that warm email. And then third, if I don't get a response to that warm email resend, I'll send the prospect the same warm email copy from step number 1 in the form of a printed letter via snail mail. And it'll look like the example I just showed you. This approach is effective because by changing the medium, you increase the chances your message will get noticed. And the personalized copy and the tone tend to increase response because they show that you took the time to handcraft your message for that individual. In an environment where digital marketing is all the rage, I find that physical mail stands out, especially when your direct mail piece feels personal and when it's relevant, or when it's different from most of the mail your prospects receive, either because you've taken the time to hand address the envelope or because your message and call to action are highly relevant, or both. But before you dive too deep into the weeds, take time to decide what you want to get out of your direct mail efforts. From there, pick the approach that makes the most sense for your specific situation. One last thing, set the right expectations. Don't expect miracles from doing just one mailing. That's unfair. Smart follow-up, nurturing not yet ready leads, and taking an integrated approach to your prospecting are essential to your long-term success with direct mail. This has been Ed Gandia with High Income Business Writing. To get more actionable tips and strategies to earn more in less time doing work you love for better clients, visit b2blauncher.com.